those clouds. They're absolutely fantastic, and I've been watching these clouds all week, and today is the day that I've got some time to go out and shoot some cloud photography. So I've come down to Newtown Creek today. I'm going to have to put this microphone behind if it's muffled, guys, I'm sorry, but it's bloody windy down here today. I'll have to put this behind my jacket. If it's a bit muffled, I apologise, and I can get on with some photography. Hopefully that might cover the wind a little bit and you can hear me better. So we've had some really strange weather recently in the UK. It's been, you get days where there's like rainbows coming out, it's lashing down with rain, it's totally windy. Then the thunder comes in and the sun comes out, it's quite warm, you take your jumpers and you're back in your t-shirts, and half hour later it's all back to normal, it's all back to bloody all seasons again. So we've had some strange weather, which is a great opportunity for taking pictures. So I was going to go out to the beach today, but I thought the clouds were that good, I thought I'm going to come down to Newtown Creek around here. I've brought an umbrella with me as well because it's so unpredictable. It might rain in the next half hour, but we've got an opening now for some photographs. And it's absolutely beautiful down there. The tide's in, which is a real bonus. The sun is over that way. As you can see, it's coming down on my face. And all this here around me, I can get some nice photographs. I've already taken a few photographs over that way on my way down. And the cameras that I've brought out today with me are medium format cameras. I've bought a 6x6 classic folding camera. This is a Franka Solida II camera. And inside here I've got a roll of Fuji Acros 100. So that's the film that I'm going to be shooting, black and white pan film, beautiful film, very fine grain, bags of tonality in that film. So that's the film that I'm shooting in this old camera from the 1950s, I think this one is. And a great starter as well if you want to get into medium format. These are very inexpensive, probably about £50 or $50 these you can pick these up for, and also the Zeiss Icon Netars as well. And I've also bought out a nice 1970s Mamiya 645 that I'm going to be shooting as well. Again, this is loaded with Fuji Acros. There goes the GoPro, told you it was windy. Again, this is loaded, some sandbags, this is loaded with Fuji Acros as well. So although I've done many shoots down at Newtown Creek before, it's, you know, the thing with landscape photography, you can visit the same places again and again and get different results because of the lighting, because of the clouds. And today these clouds are absolutely beautiful. I haven't brought any filters out with me, and I've done that on a reason. I don't want to shoot any filters, I just want to shoot the film raw. I don't want to put any filters in front of the camera, other than a graduate filter that I've got for the Mamiya. So that's just going to give me a little bit of gradient, a little bit of a darker sky, hopefully. It's the first time I've used it. And so I'll show you around the scene here, and I'm going to pull a few photographs of these boats, and hopefully if they come out as well as I think they're going to come out, then we'll get in the darkroom and we'll make some prints, put it on paper and see how they look. I've also brought out with me a Sekonic light meter, just do a simple bit of incident metering back towards the camera. And that's about it really, simple photography but enjoyable at the same time. So this is the Franka Solida II camera that I'm going to be taking out with me. A very simple camera to use. It folds away nice and compact as well if you're going to be travelling with it. Look at that, stick that in your side pocket or whatever. It doesn't really weigh a lot. But brilliant cameras, medium format 6x6 negatives. I'll just quickly show you the back of it. So you can see that's the size of the negative at the back, 6x6. There's the back of the lens there, and you've got a little tiny red window here, so when that's closed you can see what number frame you're on with the backing paper of the 120 film. So that's what it looks like closed. Let's open it up, open the front of it up. There you go. So there's the bellows. And there's the lens there. The shutter speeds on this are from bulb mode all the way to 1/300th of a second, and the apertures on the lens are f3.5 to f22. And the lens, these lenses are brilliant. They're absolutely fantastic. You'll see when I shoot this later on. I'll show you the results between this and the 645. You know, for a little tiny lens, little leaf shutter like this is, it's a Schneider Cruisenack lens. I've probably butchered that name, I always do. A Zenar lens, I mean, none of that means nothing to me, but you know, you read up and it just says about these lenses, and I've used these cameras many times and this one as well, and the pictures I get back are just awesome, you know, nice sharp lenses. Look at this beautiful scene here. This lovely quay or harbour, boats just come in, more up, have a bit of lunch, and then they bagger off back everywhere they want to go. Little tiny boat there, but look at the clouds. I mean, you know, an orange or red filter possibly could have done this justice. I'm silly really, I should have put my filters in my bag just in case, but it's just an idea that I had at the time. So yeah, Newtown Creek, you've probably seen this place before. I've taken photographs of that boat shed. I'm not interested in that, I've got plenty of that, unless I find maybe a different angle. So I'm going to plot up over there on the corner and get a photograph of all this while these boats are there. Yeah, it's really windy, everything's blowing everywhere up there, so I'm going to come right to the corner. I can use these ropes, these have been nice as a leading line of some sorts. I'm definitely going to use them in a moment, but I want to get this scene in for these clouds and those boats in the background. So we'll just set the tripod up. I'll bring it up a little bit more. I don't go too high. I'm going to stretch these legs a little bit, give a bit more stability on it. In case you're wondering, that's a K&F Concept tripod. Fantastic bit of kit for lighter weight cameras, I suppose. Start off with the Mamiya 645. I'll stick that on there. I'm a little bit paranoid about the sun and whether it's going to strike this film, so I'm just going to put my hat over it. I've got to be careful with my metering because I don't want the lumisphere to be influenced by the sun, which is there. So I'm just going to point it away from the sun a little bit. If I go there, it's going to it's going to close my exposure down. So I don't want to do that. That will just give me a darker scene. So I'll point over that way. So that's giving me f16 at 250. I'm going to go f11 at 1/250th. Oh, that's better. 2 boats there. Nice bit of cloud, 2 boats, a little bit of choppy water. Done. Let's take another shot using these leading lines. So this is the Mamiya 645. I haven't had this very long. I've used this a few times now. So today I'm looking forward to getting out and shooting this camera. At the moment I've got a graduate filter lens on there that I'm going to be using, which is, you can see, is darker at the top. So that's ideal for just making my skies pop a little bit. And on this Mamiya 645, I've got an 80mm Ichor lens, which is the same focal length as the Franka Solida. So I'll be interested to see the two together side by side. But this camera's fantastic, built in the late 1970s. This one is. It's a 645 1000S. Very easy to use. It's a very simple camera. It is a nice camera. It's you can change the prisms on the top, you can change the lenses, and obviously it takes 120 film and it shoots in a 645 format. So it's the smallest medium format size, if you like. Some people have said in the past it's barely medium format, but it's medium format and it gives you nice decent sized negatives. Definitely a step up from 35mm anyway. But it's a fun camera to shoot. Unfortunately with this one I don't have I haven't had it long, and I don't have the waist level viewfinder prism, which is really useful if I'm looking down like this to do my compositions. I can't unless I take the prism off, and if I take the prism off, obviously there it goes. I'm just left with the ground glass, which, you know, it's hard to see unless you've got something covering it. But with this prism, it's just a case of getting used to it. It's a viewfinder prism, you know, so I have to look through. It's just a little bit difficult to do the low shots. But another good feature with this camera, you can do multiple exposures as well. You can do multiple exposures on this one. But this one you can do multiple exposures with a flick of a switch, and also you can pull the mirror up as well just to eliminate any shake when you're taking your photographs. But a nice feeling camera as well. The shutter speeds on this camera are it's quite generous actually. It takes a battery and they're from 8 seconds all the way to 1/1000th of a second. And obviously there's a bulb mode as well. Sync flashes at 60th of a second. There's a fire button now, and there's also one up here as well, which is quite nice. So I'm going to take both of these out on location and see how I get on. And I'll be interested to see, you know, when I come back, look at the negatives and see not so much the difference between the two, but just, you know, the quality of the negatives when I come back. This is going to be slightly bigger negatives, being 6x6. This is slightly smaller at 645, but the lenses, of course, are the ones that's going to do the job for me. So it'll be interesting to see how this small lens compares to this Mamiya Ichor lens. So you can see I've got these nice leading lines. I've got a little tiny boat there, so I'm going to try and use that, and a little bit of rockery in the background. Of course we've got the clouds, so let's try that. That's a lovely scene there. sometimes feel like it's not wide enough. This is an 80mm lens. We'll soon see. I need to come back a bit actually, just to get a bit more wider in the scene. Looks a bit better. And I'm focusing on the boat. Took the shot. So I'll show you, I'm just going to leave the camera there for a second. I'll show you where my next point is. So we can come over here, maybe somewhere around here, looking out, maybe get the camera low down so we're kind of like close to the water and looking out over that way. This is quite nice as well, look at that woodwork. I might get a little bit of that. There is a sign there, I might try and, I don't know if I can take that away or not, it looks broken anyway. And I'm using exactly the same settings as before. Tell you what, I might go into portrait mode here. I need to flip the camera around for that. Let's try portrait mode. Just trying to get some detail about, oh here we go, the boat's turning a little bit. Got it. They're both quality cameras, they've both got the same focal length lenses. The Franka Solida's got an 80mm and so has this as well. So what's that, probably equivalent, I don't know, 45 maybe on a 35mm camera, 45mm. So I'd be interested to see how the negatives come out. Obviously there's a difference in format. This is 645, and that's 6x6. So those negatives on the Franka are a little bit bigger. I get 12 shots per roll on that, and with a 645 I'll get 15 shots. So I'll get a few more shots out of this camera for my money. I like this shot actually. I'm going to try and see if I can get that sign away or do something with it. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's just fallen off. Oh, that's a result, look at that. Let's get rid of that for a minute. That's the sign there. It says no access, path closed due to ground nesting birds. Otherwise I would have walked to the end of that little embankment there and taken a shot. But this is really nice actually. It's nice with old wood sometimes, such as this. Let's take this shot here. And let's do this at portrait as well, so I can get more of the sky in. Need to come back a bit more. That's better, just move back. There's the fire button, there it is. Take my shot. Oh, it's windy. There goes the GoPro. Oh my God. But what a camera, you know, all the way from the 1970s this thing, and it's still going strong. Every single shutter speed fires, the lens is absolutely brilliant, and all the mechanism just works flawlessly. But what's even more amazing are these folding cameras from the 1950s, this one, and the Zeiss Icon Netta that I featured plenty of times on the channel. I love these folding cameras, and they were the very first introduction for me to medium format film. So I can be at roughly the same distance. Just bring it up a little bit. Put my cable release in with this one. Leaf shutter there. Take the shot. Done. I'm going to take this one back down here and do the same shot. And every time I take a photograph, I just make sure I advance the film like I'm doing now. But unfortunately, this Acros, for some reason, is very faint, and it's hard for me to see through the red window where my next number is. I'm almost having to bring it out into the sunlight to see, look, which I don't like doing. See what we can get in this one. Oh, that's nice. Done. The sky is just not playing ball at all. I thought it was going to be nice dramatic clouds, and it was when I left, but does my hat look stupid? I think it does. But yeah, when I left, I thought it was ideal these sort of days, you know, when the clouds are so fantastic and the rain, and there's rainbows and there's wind and everything else, and it's just changing continuously, and the sun like breaking through the clouds. That's what I was envisioning. That's why I came down here, but well, hasn't happened, does it? Just realised I've done a silly thing. I've left the gradient filter in the cloud position when I've gone in portrait. That's okay. A little bit of dodging, it'll be fine. But a silly thing to do nonetheless. So I'm back from the creek and I'm back home, and oh man, that was so windy down there. But I've got both films shot. There they are there. All I've got to do is get these films onto these reels, get it into that tank and get developing using this Ichor developer. I'll show you that in a moment. But for now, let's get the film onto the reels and into the tank with the magic of editing. And there it is, all safe and secure inside the tank. Do you remember I was talking about the backing paper being hard? I could hardly see it. Yeah, it is. Don't know how it comes out on camera, but it's quite faint, especially to see through that red window. That's why I was struggling with it. I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera, but anyway. So this is the Ichor film developer that I'm trying out at the moment, and so far I've had great results, and I'm still trying to settle down with my own times. And it was created by Defehr, who also created 510 Pyro, which most of you know James Lane of Zone Imaging has made so popular. So this developer is an eco-friendly, non-toxic developer, and it's highly concentrated solution with a mixture of water to make a working developer solution like other developers. And the standard dilutions are 1 part to 100 and 1 part to 200, but I'm using 1 part to 100. And I'd say it's a little bit more gloopy than 510 Pyro, or viscous if you like, but it doesn't have any staining properties. So I'm going for 400 millilitres of water, so I need 4 millilitres of this stuff. There you go, 4 millilitres. And the developer's still not for sale yet. It's still being tested by Jay and other people, including myself as well. Let's put that in there now. And on the data sheet that Jay gave me, it suggests Fuji Acros II at 7.5 minutes, and that would be normal inversions. But I'm going to develop these on my rotary processor, and although I should use less than the data sheet says, for my tests so far, I've needed longer times for some reason. So I'm going to be putting this for 8 minutes on my rotary processor, and this is the first time I've developed Fuji Acros with this developer. So I've done no tests or anything like that. I'm literally going to be winging these two and see how they come out. So fingers crossed. Let's get it on the rotary processor now, get this developer inside the tank and then on the rotary processor. So in goes the developer, and we'll get that straight onto the rotary processor, and on it goes for 8 minutes. And then when the developing's done, I'm going to fix it in Zone Imaging's Eco Zone Fix. This is what I use mostly for my 510 Pyro, and there's a bottle already mixed that I've been using for my previous films. Oh, look at that dark colour coming through there. Let's get this film stopped. The last part, in goes the fixer. That'll be enough. Put that on the rotary processor, and we'll wash and I'll dry it and show you guys how the negs look. So the photographs look really nice, the compositions, I'm really happy with what I've got. Shame the clouds weren't as moody as I'd expected, but hey ho, you know, you take your chances, don't you? But I'm in the darkroom, and the negatives, well, they came out a little bit flatter than I'd hoped for. And there's nothing to do with the developer, that's still me trying to, you know, test times for Acros 2 with this developer. Maybe I could have made a stronger dilution or maybe extended the development time, but I felt like the highlights just weren't building up. So that's notes for me to go forward with. Next time I shoot Acros 2, put it in that developer, I'll just increase the time. Or I may even sacrifice a roll and see where that's probably the best way, actually, sacrifice a roll rather than waste any more film. But I'm in the darkroom, and the good news is I can make prints from those negatives. I just need to boost the contrast in the darkroom the same way that I did with the scans that you've already seen. So I'm going to be making some fibre prints. I'm only going to make 2 prints, one from each camera. So I've already got one of the photographs or negatives under the enlarger, so I'm using Ilford's multigrade fibre paper. Wish me luck, because this stuff's tricky. And just as I thought, these were my tests. So I started off playing around with a little bit split grading, a contrast 2, and I ended up going straight to my gut instinct, which was contrast 5. This was a split grade. You can see there's not a great deal of contrast in this, and just playing around. But I started playing with the times, and then started suddenly getting around to where I wanted to be. But I do need to do a little bit of burning in the areas just to make the fence pop. Otherwise everything's going to look kind of the same contrast, which is what I don't want. So after a little bit of jiggery pokery, this is one of my first prints. I need to make another one because I need to align it properly. But this one was basically contrast 5 filter for 10 seconds the overall, and I had to dodge these rocks during that time because they were going a bit too grey. I need them to stand out. And then after that, I just had to do a little bit of burning in with the same filter on the sky, and a little bit of burning in around this area. And then I used my little burning in tool, this one here, so I could pinpoint these areas. So I just burned in the logs with the contrast 5 as well, just to make the important part is to make this area pop. I don't want this area to be exactly the same sort of flat contrast as the rest of the print, so I need to do a little bit of work on it to try and make that pop, because that's the center of attention. But I need to make sure that these little rocks have also got sort of some highlight, which is, if I extended the development, they would have got that highlight boost. Same with the clouds. So let's go back on the enlarge. I'll show you what I'm doing. So this is from the Franka Solida. So I'm working on a 6x6 square photograph at the moment, as you can see from the last print. So this is what I'm having to deal with. You know, there is obviously detail there, separation with the contrast, but I just need to exaggerate that in the print. This is the way I like my photographs. I like contrast. You know, I don't like really flat prints. So let's see what we can do with it. That's at 5.6 on the enlarger. That's come down to f8. Pull that 5 filter over. Now you can see it's you can't see. It's bloody dark, isn't it? So before I make another print, I'll just make sure the enlarger hasn't slipped. And I'll tell you what, the grain on this is so fine it hasn't slipped. The grain is so fine I can hardly see it. Acros is such a fine grain. And the only thing with working with fibre paper is it's not cheap. So, you know, you want to go sparingly with your test prints and all sorts. You want to try and nail the print off if you can without wasting too much paper. Trying to align it as well on the easel. So I've got 10 seconds to start, but for those 10 seconds I need to use this little tiny tool here. I don't think you see that. And that's going to just cover those rock areas. Just give it a go. Cover those rocks. Then I'm going to burn in the sky a little bit, and then I'll graduate that off as I go towards the top, start graduating it towards the top. And now the floor. All I'm trying to do is just make that centre area stand out a little bit. Just trying to cover those rocks a bit more. And just a little bit on the sides. Now we use this tool here just to burn a little bit of that gate in. Freehand this time, so I'll just turn the light on, no timer. I need to turn the red lights off, I can't see. That's better. So I'm just waving over that gate just to try and make that pop a little tiny bit. That'll do. We'll see how that comes out. So it's quite nice to work with fibre paper, but it just takes a little bit more washing time, and obviously trying to get the paper flat after drying. I'm also going to selenium tone these as well, and the selenium toner works much better with fibre than it does resin, because it literally soaks into the paper. So we'll see how this looks after selenium toning. If you like these prints, guys, they're going to be going on my Etsy page, these fibre based prints. I'll put a link in the description if anyone's interested. I don't often print fibre, but I just only hope that I don't like the fibre too much, because I end up getting more of it, and it's just twice as much as resin paper. But it is a nice paper to work with. So I'll get this stopped, fixed and then washed, and I'll show you guys how it looks. But to me, it's looking really nice. So these prints are now been toned, and they're washing at the moment. I'm going to take these indoors and give them a final wash before I start drying them out and then flattening them. So I'm really happy with the way these have come out, you know. And these older cameras like the Mamiya 645 and the Franka Solida, I'll show you that print. It just fascinates me how these older cameras are just, some people might look at them and just think, oh, they're rubbish, but pff, boy, do they produce some fantastic photographs, you know, even on par with digital, I would say sometimes. And just to think that years ago, when digital started coming around, people were, I know they were getting rid of their film stuff, giving it away or even throwing it away. Darkroom stuff and cameras as well. I know so many photographers that gave their film cameras away, and they're kicking themselves now. Didn't think that film would come back. But let us know in the comments if any of you guys have got the Mamiya 645. What do you think of it? And let us know if you've got the Franka Solida II. Like I said earlier on in the video, those folding cameras are a great way to get into medium format if you haven't yet taken the jump from 35mm. They're a fantastic way, inexpensive, and gets you developing and getting used to 120 film. So anyway guys, thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe and all that stuff, and share it with your mates, and I'll catch you next time.